time round we're going to use this Chesapeake and Ohio steam engine, the Kanawha locomotive, to learn how to drive a steam engine. Now notice you've got some quite different controls here. We have got the train brake, which is currently fully applied, so the Y key takes you there. We've got a loco brake, which is the independent or straight brake on the locomotive only, which is now fully released, and you apply just like the diesels with the right trigger and release with the right bumper. Same with the train brake. And that's it for the brakes. You'll notice there's no dynamics, so if I release that a little bit, and what you would normally actually do is you would sit on your loco brake fully applied and you would release your train brake, because it takes the compressor on a steam engine quite a while to pump up the train. You can see that's happening now. The equalizing reservoir is slowly climbing and the train brake pipe is slowly climbing, and they will both come up to about looks like this one's set to 70 psi, so that's where we're going to head. Alright, the next control is the regulator. You can think of that like the throttle. So if we pop into the cab, the regulator is that quadrant lever in front of us, so if we increase that, you can see it's pulled out towards us and back again. The next one is the cutoff, which is currently in mid-gear, so you can think of the cutoff, or reverser as it's usually called, and it might also be called the Johnson, believe it or not, thanks to the Johnson bar. And this thing is basically how much power you're getting versus how efficient you are in either of the directions, forwards or reverse. So I can start putting the cutoff towards forwards. Notice it's turning that little wheel in front of us there. Interesting that we're moving with the loco brake off and the loco brake on and the regulator at 0, isn't it? That really shouldn't happen, but that's okay. This is an arcade style simulator, not a train simulator. Now I can of course go back in the other direction, of course, and this is negative, and this means we're going to go backwards. It's curious to see if it actually does. Interestingly, it doesn't. Okay, so when you're starting out, you need to have a high cutoff in the direction that you want to go. Oh wait, there's two more controls, coal and water. So you can see right now there's an awful lot of coal in there. It's basically, Firebox is basically full, which is not ideal, but that's okay. If you increase the amount of coal going in, this one's got a steam stoker by the sounds of it, so you can go up to right up to 100%, but we certainly don't want to do that at the moment because we don't need it, because there's plenty of coal in there. And if I X again, we've got water level as well, so we can put water in. You want to maintain generally about half a glass of water, so about where this is probably about right. And you notice the coal level is going up now, or the fire level is going up anyway. So if I cycle back to, actually I just want to go to cutoff again. So we're going to set a cutoff. We want to start moving forwards, so we're going to set a fairly high cutoff. We're going to go right out to the maximum, and that means we're going to apply all the power, but we're not efficient on steam. We'll be very inefficient on steam. And we will now press and hold the X so it releases the brakes, and I'll give it a little bit of regulator. In reality, you'd give it a bit and then pull it back, and then give it a little bit, let the steam chest build up, and then pull it back. This train doesn't really do that. It's not really simulated, so you don't have to, because there is no wheel slip. So now that we're moving, we can go to the cutoff and we can bring that back. So let's bring that back to about, 52 will be fine. And we'll just leave that there for the moment. Let's start putting some coal in because we're going to start using it. And let's start putting a little bit of water in because we're going to be using it as well, just to maintain our levels. Let's start to bring our regulator up because we're allowed to do 40 mile an hour. I have no idea where this route's going to take us at the moment. I'm just letting it be. I have green signals, so I don't care. Now that we've got some good speed going, I'm going to bring my cutoff back again, and then I'm going to increase my regulator again. There's two schools of thought. You can either drive on the regulator or you can drive on the cutoff. So Some drivers will put the regulator to the roof at 100% and use the cutoff to actually control their speed, or the reverser. That's not all that common though, and generally you use a combination of both. So we'll come back now down to 30%. That's probably good enough. And we'll keep an eye on our water consumption because it's starting to use some water. So let's pop that back up to 20 for another one. Coal still seems to be quite fine. Now the fire indicator is going quite high, so we'll start using coal, but we're keeping up at the moment. So let's put our regulator up a bit more. Let's, didn't want to hop off then. I wanted to do that and have a look at the outside. So we are coming up to our speed limit. We can watch our train go by. It's only a little shorty. Let's go back up to the engine. You move forwards and backwards in a train, I don't know if I've told you this, by using the up and down on the left stick. And that moves you forwards and backwards. Alright, we are fast approaching our speed limit, so we can bring our regulator down. Now I have noticed that our water levels maintain pretty steady, but our coal level hasn't really. So we should probably do something about that. So I'll X up to coal, I'll increase that to 20. Water's going to be okay because we're slowing down now. We're not using as much regulator. We are slowing down a bit too much, so let's bring that back up a bit. Felt like we were flat, but obviously not. They have simulated the motion quite nicely on this. Does look pretty good. Yes, I know my head's in the middle of it. Alright, so let's say we want to handle a hill. Now I know we haven't got one here, but let's say we did. What would you do? Well, you're going to need more power. So you bring your cutoff up, 45, maybe 50, and that'll give you a whole lot more power and you'll be accelerating. But bear in mind you also use more water and more steam. So when you do that, you probably need to bring your coal up and you probably need to bring your water injector up. Now, neither of these things are particularly real indicators of what's going on here because injectors are normally on or off. They're not variable, really. You kind of can finesse them a little bit, but not really. Now we're going quite a bit too quick, so we'll slow back down. We'll bring our regulator back down to 10%. We'll bring our cutoff back down to the 30 because we're not going up a hill. And let's say we want to stop the train, so we'll bring the... bring the regulator back down to 0. I cycle back down there. And we're going to be not using much coal now, but let's get the brakes happening. So let's get some braking on because we do want to stop the train. And then we'll go back up and we will reduce our coal intake. Our water will leave where it is for the moment, but once that starts going up, we'll bring that down too. So you can see the train speed is dropping. I haven't applied much brake. You see that's at 20%. That's enough. That's fine. So that's taken the equalising reservoir down to 60 psi. That's a 30-pound brake application in the brake cylinders. That's plenty to stop your train. Takes a little while, but it's plenty, and it's gentle and everything. You see our fire level is dropping in the firebox there on the fire indicator, just to the right of the water. And our water's stopped being consumed quite as fast as well, and we're also keeping up with the coal, and the coal level's starting to go up. You can see there is a hill coming up, so now that we're getting that, let's actually tackle that hill, I think. So we'll bring the train to a stop. And now we want to start it again. So back to regulator, back to full cutoff. Sorry, back to cutoff, full cutoff. And then to regulator, we'll release the train brake by holding X. and give it some steam, and off we go. You don't have to worry about cylinder cocks or anything else like that. It just happens. Once we get up to about 10 mile an hour, we'll cycle back, we'll bring the cutoff back, bit more, and now we can cycle back to the regulator with the X key again, bring our regulator back up. Let's go and give ourselves some more coal, let's give ourselves some more water, bring the regulator up again. Doing fine here, so we will bring the cutoff back to 45. We'll hold at 45 for a while until we speed up some more. Coal looks like it's sitting still, which is fine. Water's sitting still, so we're using it at the same rate we're putting it in, basically. Coal looks like it's dropping a little bit, so let's cycle back to coal and put that up another notch. We are on the flat, but I want to keep accelerating, so I'll leave the cutoff where it is for the moment, or the reverser. Engine thrashing? I don't think so. This is a perfectly acceptable place to be. Thank you, game. I think what it wants me to do is bring the cutoff back a bit, but I didn't really want to do that. Coal is sort of holding still and it's dropping, so let's increase our coal. Water's holding fine, so we'll leave that where it is. And we're going to start climbing the hill in a moment, so we'll keep our speed increasing. Look out, FedEx truck. Don't be a hero. It's not much of a hill though. So if you were going up a real hill, you would start to increase your cutoff. But it's not much of a hill, so I don't really need to very much. Speed's holding. Yep, we're speeding. Oh no! Whatever will we do? Well, that's pretty easy, really. We cycle to the regulator and we reduce that almost down to 0, and then we apply a bit of train brake. And the combination of gravity and the air brake and the fact that we're not steaming very hard will reduce our speed. Alright, so let's come off the air brake now because we're approaching the speed we want. And it will take a little while for the air brake to release. And we are going up a steeper hill now, so let's increase our cutoff to 45. Let's increase our regulator again to try and hold this speed. So we'll bring that up back up to about 60% where we were. Our coal level's still dropping quite dramatically, so let's cycle back and bring coal up quite a bit. Water's fine. Water's probably too much. And we are starting to speed again, but we've got a bigger hill coming up, so this is called getting a run up, and no one's watching. So we'll let things keep accelerating. We'll sit there on 45 for the moment. I love that it keeps saying engine thrashing, because no, it's not. This is quite normal. Because this is how you get up hills. It probably wants me to keep a low cutoff all the time, but that doesn't work. Like you can see that we are starting to drop speed, so let's give it a bit more regulator. But the other thing I'm going to do is give it a bit more cutoff. Now coal level stabilised for a little while, but is now dropping again because we're using a lot of steam to get up this hill. So we're now holding speed pretty well. Maybe even starting to increase a little bit. So I'm happy with this. So actually it shows that our fire's not terribly high. I reckon our fire would be a roaring volcano at this moment. But you know, it is a arcade train simulator. In fact, there actually isn't a good train simulator for Steam. There's one that's a little bit promising around the corner. If they ever stop fiddling with it, I'm getting vaguely convinced that they've actually made it for themselves and it works fine for them, so they've forgotten about building the rest of it. But that's okay. Surprised we don't have to slow down for this corner, but there you go. Alright, we've reached the flat bit, so we can not only reduce our regulator, but we can also reduce our cutoff. And you'll notice our coal's starting to catch up again. Water's still staying up there. It's fine. There we go. Let's say we want to bring the thing to a stop then. So we will reduce our regulator and we will apply the train brake. And we'll just give it a small brake just like we did before. And we'll let that come to a stop. You can keep a little bit of regulator on while you're braking if you want to. It helps stop the steam engine from stalling out and wheel slipping with all sort of stuck. Once we come to a stop, we will cycle back to the cutoff and we'll bring that to mid-gear. There we go. Bring that back to mid-gear. And we will... Well, we can leave our coal up for the moment because it needs to build back up again. But the reality is your fireman's going to pretty much stop stoking. And you're going to reduce your water because you're not really using it anymore. And you could sit there on the train brake, but what would be more likely in my experience is that you would fully apply your independent brake to hold the train. And then you would actually release your train brake. And the carriages would go back on their springs. There you go. You can hear the head pump going to release the brake back there. Oh, we've got a hill start. What tutorial would be complete without a hill start? Magnificent. Okay, here we go. Let's go to full cutoff. So you want to go all the way up to 75. And in preparation, let's just increase our coal a little bit. And now we're going to get onto the regulator. We're going to get a little bit. We'll let our steam chest pressure build up. And then we will cycle to the loco brake and we will release it a little bit at a time. There we go. It's happening. It's happening. Good. Back to the regulator. Increase. Increase. We're getting away with this. Increase. So in reality, you'd be going increase, decrease, let the steam chest pressure drop, increase, because you're going to start slipping, basically. But this thing doesn't really simulate hills, so, you know, we're fine. There we go. Off we go again. All right, we'll leave the tutorial there as we gradually bring this thing back up to speed. It will take a little while, and that's fine. So keep an eye on your coal level, keep an eye on your water level. Less cutoff, don't go less than 30, but less cutoff is more efficient. More cutoff is more powerful. More efficient uses less water and coal. More powerful uses more water and coal. So you want to sit down the efficient end of the scale if you can. I just realized that's backwards on the camera, so it's 30 is more efficient, 75 more power, less efficient. All right, that's it for the Steam tutorial. Good luck with it, and I hope things go well for you. Righto then, folks. That's it for all of the tutorial components for Trainz Simulator World Tour on Xbox. I keep meaning to get that right because there's so many different versions of Trainz. Anyway, Trainz Simulator World Tour on Xbox. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. It was a little bit of a long one, but I've set it up with chapters so that you can flick around to the things that you most need to see as we come past with the steam engine again. The big American canoa from the Chesapeake and Ohio Railway. Railroad, sorry, America. Railroad. They do have sub-railways as well, but this isn't one of them. Anyway, that's it for now. If you've got any questions, chuck them down below. I'll see what I can do to help you out. Do also join the N3V Discord because they have quite an active community that are very good at helping people. Alrighty, enjoy yourselves. Have fun, folks. And we shall. See you later. Enjoy the game. Enjoy this new train simulator that's now out on Xbox. Bye.
We played a game.